clear evening, stop a moment and gaze up at the stars. Imagine that you are leaving the earth behind with its conflicts and tragic events, and that you become a citizen of the skies. Meditate on the beauty of the constellations and the immensity of the beings which inhabit them. As you rise up into space, you will feel yourself become lighter and freer, but you will, above all, find peace, a peace that will gradually seep into all the cells of your being. By meditating on the wisdom that created the universe and the creatures that inhabit it, you will feel your soul putting out very subtle antennae which allow it to communicate with the most distant remote regions. The heart and the intellect are useful. They are necessary, but they are not enough for a true understanding of life without a third faculty, intuition, which is both an understanding and a feeling. Be careful, however, not to confuse intuition with clairvoyance. Intuition is superior to clairvoyance. Clairvoyance is a faculty that only allows you to look objectively at the astral and the mental plane. You can be clairvoyant and not understand anything you are seeing. Whereas with intuition, you may not see anything, but you understand things as if you saw them 100% more clearly, because you are living and experiencing them. Nature is alive and intelligent. Yes, intelligent. It is not only human beings who possess the faculty of intelligence. Of course, some find this difficult to admit, but they must realize that as our opinion of nature changes, so we change our destiny. Nature is the body of Creator. If we think it is dead and stupid, we diminish life within us. On the other hand, if we think that nature is alive and intelligent, the animals, plants, and stones, and stars are also alive and intelligent, we also introduce life into ourselves. And since nature is alive and intelligent, we must be extremely attentive towards it, and respectful of it, and look upon it with a feeling of sacredness. The person wishing to take this journey must develop their sensitivity, but this kind of sensitivity is far removed from that other neurotic, morbid tendency to touchiness, which produces only upset and illness following the slightest criticism or most insignificant disagreement. Unfortunately, everyone seems to harbour this kind of touchiness. It is all too common, and it is not true sensitivity. True sensitivity is an availability to perceive the presence of the invisible world, the energies that traverse space, and the entities which surround and visit us. In reality, there is much more going on in the psychic world than in the physical world, and it is in the psychic world that you need to practice sensing energies, presences, everything that is intangible and subtle. True sensitivity is therefore sensitivity to the invisible world, but especially to all that is luminous and divine in the invisible world. Every night before you go to bed, gather your thoughts briefly and leave aside everything that preoccupied or troubled you during the day. Then think of any possible mistakes and ask the luminous spirits to show you the best way to redress these during your sleep. Finally, just as you are about to sleep, place yourself under the protection of the Angel of Death. The Angel of Death is the name given by the Kabbalah to the Angel of Sleep, because every night we die, and every morning we come to life again. Sleeping, which is merely leaving our physical body, as a practice for when we finally leave for the other world. The person who does not know about the process of sleep will not know how to cope with dying. There is no difference between sleep and death, except that when we die, we leave the house in which we used to live. This is why we must prepare for sleep every night as if for a sacred journey, so we are ready for the day when we will set out on that other, much more conclusive journey, death. Whatever work you have to do, you must always use the requisite tools and techniques. This seems obvious, yet some spiritualists, instead of simply putting the food they want to eat on the table, may go into a state of intense concentration to spirit the food out of the cupboards, instead of exerting themselves by putting their arms and legs, eyes, ears and mouth to use to obtain all their material needs. They prefer to bother heaven with their petty requirements. This behavior does not please heaven. These people have been given every material advantage, but despite this they demonstrate only ignorance and indolence. The quest for light, wisdom, peace or love demands the use of our mental faculties, meditation, prayer and contemplation. But to obtain our material requirements, we have to roll up our sleeves and get to work. In order to understand the wealth of meaning contained in the number 10, one must study both the 1 and the 0 separately. This study reveals that each digit has its own particular nature, its own particular function, and that they have specific work together. To understand this work, we have to realize that they are not simply placed side by side, but that the 1 penetrates the 0 in order to give it life and set it in motion. This notion is also expressed by the symbol of the dot in the center of the circle. Genesis begins with these words: "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and the earth was formless, void, and darkness covered the face of the deep. And a wind from God swept over the face of the waters. The wind of Spirit of God is the masculine principle, which hovers over matter, symbolized by the waters in order to fertilize it. Water is the circle, the 0, and Spirit of Creator is the dot, the 1. Unless it is animated by the Spirit, matter remains formless and void. But when matter is overshadowed and fashioned by the Spirit, all the potential it contains begins to manifest, and it becomes a universe with suns, constellations and nebula. Our universe therefore represents the 10, matter 0, which has already been given life, fashioned and organized by the 1, the Spirit. The act of breathing, like eating, puts us in contact with the universal life. But we must be fully aware and at the same time work with our thoughts in order to experience the wealth and completeness of this connection. Try this exercise. Expel air. Imagine you are stretching out to the limits of the universe. Then, breathing in, turn back to yourself, towards your ego, the imperceptible point that is at the center of an infinite circle, the circle of infinity. Again, expand yourself. Again, bring yourself back to that tiny point. Thus, you discover the movement of flux and reflux, which is the key to all universal rhythms. Try to make this a conscious inner movement, and you will become part of cosmic harmony. There will be an intercourse between yourself and the universe, because when you inhale, you receive elements from space, and in exchange, when you exhale, you project something from your heart and soul. When we know how to harmonize ourselves with the respiration of the cosmos, then we enter divine consciousness. Every living being is inextricably linked, however diverse their natural habitat may be. Whether or not we are conscious of this fact, we are linked with every being inferior to us as we are with all those who are superior. There is a living hierarchy in nature, and it is this hierarchy, this link, uniting us with all the higher beings, which gives us the potential to reach higher. However, remember that we are also powerfully attached to all those beings which exist below us, animals, plants, and stones. If our thoughts, feelings, and actions are honest and pure, we are able to receive all the beneficial forces pouring down from heaven, as it were, through us, this unbroken chain of living beings. This divine outpouring does not stop when it reaches us. It flows through us, streaming through the whole chain to the lower animal, vegetable, and mineral realms. This is how, when we live in a state of harmony, we can exert a valuable influence everywhere, not only on everybody around us, but also on our brothers and sisters, the animals, plants, and stones. All those who try to enter the spiritual world without first working to prepare themselves are confronted by a terrible being known to initiatic science as the guardian of the threshold. Really, this being is not outside them, it is within. A formation of the accumulation of all their inferior inclinations, desires, sensuality, aggressivity, and so on. And he bars the way, because such people have no right to enter the spiritual world. Each of us must one day meet and confront the guardian of the threshold. He exists in Yesod, the ninth Sethroth. His frightful appearance threatens any adept presumptuous enough to venture into spiritual realms without the adequate preparation of work on purity, self-mastery, and courage. Only a disciple who has managed to dominate all his inferior instincts and is armed with the necessary knowledge can vanquish the guardian of the threshold. One look is all that is necessary. Go away, and this terrible being disappears, leaving the path ahead clear. Many philosophers, poets, and mystics have said that life is a dream. It is not because life is a dream, however, that we should allow ourselves to indulge in daydreaming, as so many do. They want this, they wish for that, but these rambling, incoherent dreams, with neither head nor tail, inspired only by sensuality, whims, or laziness, are not to be recommended. One can dream, of course, one should even dream, but only if the dreams are conscious, divine, and always directed towards the good and the light. In other words, towards the realization of your dream on earth, where all beings are living in love and peace, free. If more men and women often dreamed like this, they would quickly make their dreams come true. It is up to each one of us to create the sublime images that will bring about the transformation of the human race. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. Like and comment. Does all help. Thank you very much. and I'll see you all soon with part 8. I love you all, Soul Tribe. Be the frequency that you want to receive.